Yo, what up YouTube? Welcome back. Today we're going to go over the top 5 cards in each color for Lost Caverns of Ixalan, newest set. We're going to go as fast as possible. Get you to know what some of the strongest cards I believe are in constructed and the ones I saw see a lot of play or impressed me a lot during early access. Coming number 5 for white is going to be Cutzel's Flanker. This is a 3-mana 3/1 flash creature with Cat Warrior, which means it has a relevant typing. And this thing says when it comes into play, it puts a counter on itself for each creature that left the battlefield this turn. It's a great way to like recover from a Sunfall. If you have like 5 creatures die, this comes into play as the 8/1. You can also flash it to gain 2 life and scry 2, so it's never a dead card. And as the last ability is Exile Target Graveyard. This is nice because at the very least it's a good sideboard hate for graveyards in your sideboard, obviously. So this one I think is pretty easily a top 5 card. Next one is going to be Get Lost. So this is a spell that I thought was really good. But the more I played with it, the more unimpressed I was with it. So Get Lost is destroys a creature or an enchantment or a planeswalker. Its controller makes 2 map tokens. So it's very versatile. It kills a creature, it kills any creature, any planeswalker or enchantment, and it gives them 2 maps. And how valuable are these maps? Well, it depends really. If these maps both reveal like non-creatures and all gives us counters, it's not that big of a deal. But what happens sometimes is these maps can be 2 clues. If opponent reveals 2 lands, they get to draw. They get to draw 2, and 2 mana kill something. How your opponent draw 2 is not the best. It's very volatile. It's also very powerful, and that answers so much. I still think it's nice in your control decks. I'm just not sure I'd play 4. Right? I think maybe maximum of 2. But it is a nice catch-all for control or even mid-range decks. But again, the maps are a drawback for sure. Okay, number 3 is Resplendent Angel. This is a reprint, but it's a good one. We haven't seen it in a while. 3-mana 3/3 flyer. It has to give each end step. If you gained 5 more life this turn, make a 4/4 angel token with flying and vigilance. And you pay 6 mana into it, which is the best part, I think. And because of 5/5 angel with lifelink, so it will trigger its own ability. I think this is great and powerful, and just by itself, the fact that it can like get lifelink, give you some life, give you some tokens, and close the game out is huge. If you're able to gain 5 life, this comes into play somehow and make a token EOT, that usually ends the game or puts you in a very, very good spot. So great card. Yeah, great card. Solid reprint. Definitely keep an eye on this one. See how you can gain life with it as quickly as possible. Coming in number 2, we have a Sanguine Evangelist, 3-mana 2/1 with Battle Cry. This is a old mechanic. So whenever it attacks, it gives each other creature +1/+0 on a turn, and then it says when it ATBs, you make a 1/1 black bat, or when it dies. So because of play, it basically gives you a 2/1 and 1/1 flyer, and then has Battle Cry. And Battle Cry is just really good with tokens or go-eye strategies, which White Weenie is known to do with known to do both. So this is a high pick for me. There's also a vampire and a cleric, and again, both those typings are relevant for this card. Coming number 1, I didn't see this card see a lot of play. However, I think this is the reason why Wizards is going with legendary creatures instead of like a ton of planeswalkers. I think they're pushing legendary planeswalker creatures. I think Killing Daring Traveler is one that is pushed. A 2-mana 2/3, and this card has a great typing. It's a human. It's a fairy as well. Scout is whatever, but being a human fairy is huge. And then whenever it attacks, at the top of your library, if it's a creature card with mana value 3 or less, you put it into your hand. Otherwise, you put it into your graveyard. 2-mana 2/3 that just can draw cards by attacking. If that was enough, it also has an adventure part called Journey On, sorcery. He makes X map tokens, where X is 1+ number of opponents who control an artifact. This isn't like crazy, but it doesn't need to be. It's just extra flexibility on a card that's already very good. And I think Killian is going to be one of the best white cards. Even can't pay for the green. I still think it's very very worthwhile. Moving on, we'll move to the blue cards. Coming number 5 is going to be the Everflowing Well. This card is basically divination, but with upside. So when this ETBs, you mill 2 cards, then you draw 2 cards. So it's divination that mills cards, which is great if you're using a graveyard somehow, or descending. If you blink it, it also, redraws for you, which is very, very relevant. Then also, when it transforms, it becomes a land called the Mired Pools, which isn't amazing, but it's just upside on your divination, right? And you can probably do some funky stuff with land by copying other things, but divination that becomes a ramp spell I think it's solid. And I would play like maybe one of these in my control deck just for divination ability over quick study and the ability for it to become a land, which I think is relevant, especially if you're playing things like Memory Deluge, or again, are ways to use the graveyard. Coming number 4 is gonna be Kitetail Larcenist. This is a 2 mana, 2/3 human pirate, both relevant typing, with flying ward 1. This when it enters the battlefield, for each player, you choose up to 1 target artifact or creature that player controls. For as long as this thing remains on the battlefield, those permanents become treasures. Basically, lose all abilities. All they can do is add mana. This is very big for a blue removal spell, where blue doesn't usually get solid removal. It's also a 2/3 flyer. It's also 3 costs, which makes it good for Coco. It's not a crazy card, but it is a card that answers something and is evasive and can clock your opponent decently well, being a 2/3. And protects itself with ward 1. Coming in at number 3, this card I saw a lot of, and honestly it was pretty impressive. It's Deep-Root Pilgrimage. 2 mana enchantment. Whenever one or more non-token merfolk you control becomes tapped, they don't even have to attack. So if this become tapped somehow, you make a 1/1 blue merfolk creature token with hexproof. This is really good with lords, making your merfolk massive very quickly. Just a great card. It's like a blue Bitter Blossom. And if you're able to tap your tokens, like to crew something, which is coming up, you can make more tokens than just in combat, right? Coming number 2 is it's not as good as Smuggler's Copter, but we'll say fixed Smuggler's Copter. This card is really good. I was highly impressed with it. It's a 2 mana, 3/4 vehicle with crew 1. It's an artifact, which makes it very hard to kill. You can't use Go for Throat to kill it. It's so much harder to kill. Even if your opponent wraths the board, you still have 3/4. This thing says whenever it attacks, target creature that crewed it this turn explores. That creature can get bigger, or it's going to draw your card. Both are just great. Highly impressed with this card, and I expect to see a lot of play in bluish aggro or tempo decks. Coming number 1, I didn't see this card. This card didn't see a lot of play when I was playing early access. I didn't really see it that much, but I have a hard time believing this is not one of the best cards, or not the best blue card in the set. Malcolm Alluring Scoundrel is a Siren Pirate for 2/1 flash flying. Then whenever it attacks, whenever it's coming over to a player, you put a chorus count on it. Then you draw a card and discard a card. So you get the loot. Then there are 4 more chorus counters on Malcolm. You may cast discarded cards. You may cast the discarded card without paying its mana cost. 4th one. So looking at things like Rona, that is played in Legends, right? Because it loots, you can transform, and types of Legends. I feel like this card is just very powerful in that shell. Going turn 2, Malcolm, into turn 3, Rafine, attacking, drawing cards, discarding cards, making things bigger, I think is relevant. And even though he's legendary, even though Malcolm's legendary, he protects himself in a way because you can pitch the copies if you want, right? So it's not too bad. I see this as an aggressive Rona, which is great for tempo decks, great in Legends. Just seems like a very solid card. Next up, we'll go to the black cards. So might be a personal favorite or one that I liked. Card number 5 is going to be, I believe, Tyrian's Journal. Did I say it? Tyrian's Journal. A black and 1, so 2 mana. You can sacrifice it. Sorry, you can sacrifice another artifact or creature. If you do, you draw a card. You can only activate as sorcery. But then you make 2 mana, discard it. Discard your hand, and you transform the journal into a land. And that land is legendary. It's going to give all your creatures essentially flashback, but not flashback, but like finalities. Basically, flashback for creatures. So it allows you to cast all your creatures back later in the game. I think this is great for like sack decks that are playing Untitled or cheap creatures. You can just loot away those artifacts to draw cards, like blood tokens rather, and then later in the game, or even if you mulligan, or even if you play your hand, you can transform this into a land very quickly and start reanimating your stuff from the graveyard. Card number 4 is going to be Souls of the Lost. This is a 2 mana. As it just costs to cast this, you have to sacrifice a permanent or discard a card. And I don't think that's that big a deal with blood tokens running around, or just tokens in general, even treasures. We also have the new ones from Eldraine, which are the tokens, like from Furious Rage, that they can sacrifice. Or if you play like Spiteful Hexmage turn 1, you play this turn 2, sacrifice a token. Obviously, it's better late game though. But this seems solid in a descend deck, where you can descend very quickly, mill yourself, make it huge, and then maybe fling at your opponent. So this is an XX creature. Where X is the number of permanent cards in your graveyard, and toughness equal to that +1. So it's always going to be a 0/1 at the worst. At the best, it's going to be a massive card. Number 3 is going to be Bloodletter of. These names I don't know how to pronounce. Axels, Bloodletter of something, of A. So it's 4 mana. We're 2/4 flyer. It says if opponent would lose life during your turn, they lose twice so much life instead. So it's kind of like a worst. The red card, the doubles damage from your red permanents. However, it's worse because it doesn't happen in combat. It's only during your turn. However, it's basically a 4/4 because if it connects, it's going to deal extra damage. And then your burn spells, everything's going to deal more. The problem is that if it's in a spot where it competes with Shieldred, which we know Shieldred is extremely powerful. So that makes it kind of iffy for me. It's also nice for devotion though. If you in older formats, if you were going like mono black. There's also vampire, which is relevant typing. Demon is not so much, but vampire is relevant. Is a relevant creature type. This type is Stalsight Stalker. 1 mana, 1/1 menace. So beginning of step, if you descend this turn, put a counter on Stalsight Stalker. And then you can pay 3 mana to sacrifice it. It's going to give target creature -X/-X, where X is the Stalker's power. So, and it doesn't need counters. If you just be able to grow it, then sacrifice it to kill something, you can do that. It's also great with fetch lands, or the lands from Capenna, where they come into play, and then you sacrifice them to the basic. If you want to, like maybe alongside Soul of Windgrace or alongside Blossoming Tortoise, you can sacrifice like lands to make it bigger, or blood tokens, or map tokens, or treasures, or whatever, and it can get bigger. So, sorry, tokens don't work. I lied. Tokens don't work. I made this mistake. In actually early access. Tokens don't work. So you do have to. It has to be a permanent card. Tokens do the graveyard, but ascend specifically says card. It has to be a card. Coming number 1 is going to be Bitter Triumph. This is just a creature or planeswalker for 2 mana, and just because to cast it, you either pay 3 life or discard a card. And I don't think you play a ton of this card either. But again, 2 mana to kill a creature or a planeswalker, I think is very relevant. 3 life, is hefty. So I don't think you just jam 4 of them, but it's nice to jam this as like the 3rd and 4th go for throat, or even just at least 1. It's just a powerful catch-all at instant speed that can deal with the most annoying threats in the game, being creatures and planeswalkers. So, it's my vote. All right, next up, we're going to go over some of the red cards. Card number 5 is going to be Baby Dinosaur, Belligerent Yearling. 2 mana for 3/2 Trampler. 2 mana for 3/2 Trampler is already pretty good and aggressive cost. And then it says whenever another dino enters the battlefield under control, you may have the Yearling's base power become equal to that creature's power until the end of turn. So it can become bigger. I think this is great for like a green and red dino shell, where you play this and you play the 6/6 dino, so it becomes a 6/6 itself and attacks. And again, even at its worst, it's a 3/2 Trampler, which is still fine. It's still pretty solid. So I like this card for dinosaur deck or even an aggressive deck. Coming number 4, might be a surprise for number 4, but I have Bone Horde Dracosaur. I see this as the red Banesword Angel or the red Elder Gargaroth. So it's 5 mana for a flying first strike. It says at the beginning of your upkeep, exile top 2 cards of your library. You play them this turn. If you exile land this way, make a 3/1 red dinosaur creature token. If you exile a non-land card this way, make a treasure token. This card is just brutal if you untap. Like, I imagine you just win the game if you untap with it. The problem is getting to 5 mana and then untapping with it. It was the same with Gargaroth, right? Elder Gargaroth, you play it, it's powerful. But if it dies and do anything, and then if you untap with it, you're just going to do some powerful things with it. But Gargaroth was great on defense and offense. It's the same way. It doesn't have to attack, but it can. Like first strike is also great on defense as well. So this is a powerful card. But we're in a world where creatures need to do something when they come to play. If they don't, they need to be very powerful. This card is very powerful, though, at least. So we'll see how it goes. But I think it'll be similar to Elder Gargaroth in play. Like, so, but you'll see play, but not like a ton of play. Coming in number 3, I have NT of the Sun. 2 mana 2/2, which says whenever you attack, you may discard a card. When you do, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature against trample in a turn. So the card itself doesn't have to attack. It can be like you can play 1-drop, then play this, attack the 1-drop, and discard a card if you want to. Then it says whenever you discard 1 or more cards, exile top card of your library, you can play that card to your next end step. And what's cool about this is like it says whenever you discard a card, it doesn't have to be to its ability. You like something like Tormenting Voice. If you discard a card, you can you exile it to your next end step, or even if someone were to like Thought Seize you, or make you discard cards with Liliana or whatever, this will exile cards from your library, and you can play them for your next turn. So both those clauses I think are sweet. Late game you can pitch lands or cards that aren't doing anything to guard creatures and find cards, and it protects you from discard as well, which is pretty cool. And it works with things like Tormenting Voice or ways to like to discard and redraw. Now I could be wrong with this one, but I'm putting Goblin Tomb Raider at number 2 because it says as long as you control an artifact, it's +1/+0 and has haste. I think it's very hard to make this a 2/2 on turn 1, but it's pretty easy on turn 2, 3, and so forth. Make a 2/2 haster. You can play alongside artifacts or Ginger or other 1-drop artifacts, or play it with maps, tokens, or clue tokens, or whatever kind of tokens. I think just very powerful and like probably a black-red artifact shell, or even like blue-red artifacts. I think this has potential. I could be wrong, but I think upside's there. At the very worst, it's a great card for Pauper. It's common that is very, very powerful for aggressive decks. Coming number 1 is going to be my it's going to be Bloodbraid Alpha Home for me. Geological Appraiser, the 4 mana 3/2 ETBs. If you cast it, discover 3. Discovers a new mechanic from the new mechanic, basically a fixed cascade. It says exile card at the top of your library until you exile non-land card with mana value 3 or less, and then cast it without paying its mana cost, or put it into your hand. So while this doesn't gain haste like Bloodbraid Elf did, the card at the very least you can choose not to cast it. Like there were times when we cast Bloodbraid Elf and you might hit like Go for a Throw or Doomblade or whatever, and you're like, well, there's no targets, so I can't really do anything much with it. This at least if you hit a removal spell, you're like, you know what, I don't want to cast this, and put it in my hand. So there's the plus side to that. It's also one color. It's double red, but it's one color. Regardless, though, Bloodbraid Elf, even without haste, is going to be sweet and powerful enough for standard. And I think this one is definitely going to be a good one for standard. I played with it, and I was pretty impressed with it. I was playing in tokens, so playing it, then hitting a wedding announcement was sweet and powerful. Excuse me. Moving on to green, my favorite color. We get Hulking Raptor. 4 mana 5/3 dinosaur with Ward 2 to protect itself. It says whenever we become at main phase, add 2 green mana. So he'll pay for half his cost the next turn, and the following turn after that, he'll basically be a free card. I like this because it's an aggressive dinosaur that ramps into your other dinosaurs. Obviously, playing dinosaurs, you kind of want to go a little bigger. If you can, I think this is a great way to do so in a green-red dino deck, especially if you're trying to go all the way up to like Gashoth or something big. So I think it's cool. It's a dinosaur that ramps you, and while it may have 3 toughness, it says Ward 2, which means it's probably going to survive. It's not great on defense, but it is an aggressive dinosaur and a rampy one. It's a rampy dinosaur. I like it. Okay? All right. Turn number 4 is going to be Glimpse the Core. This is a rampant growth for a forest, or returns a cave from Graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Rampant growth, I think, is better than this card overall, because it's all only a forest. But I think that's so powerful. At least we're finally getting something that ramps for 2 mana for sure. But it kind of sucks seeing Growth Spiral, a couple years back, and seeing this one where it's just like Growth Spiral, you drew a card as well, you play any land you want. Growth Spiral would be great, or in like a Domain Shell. This is more restricting. Like you have to be a cave deck or a deck heavy on forests that also wants to ramp. Still a powerful card that we'll see play, but it's just more narrow. That's okay, because I like seeing spells like this, because decks that ramp with lands instead of creatures allow you to play like things like Sunfall, right, or removal without destroying your creatures that you ramp with. So, speaking of ramp, moving on to the next one, which is Intrepid Paleontologist, 2 mana druid for 2/2, and adds 1 mana of any color, which, sure, we've seen this before on many creatures. However, it has another ability, which says exile target card from a graveyard. This is great for ways to like graveyard hate. It's a mana dork that exiles stuff from the graveyard, so it can help in a world of descends. People are descending or using the graveyard or reanimating or whatever you want, or whatever have you. And then last, it has more text. It says you may cast dinosaur card spells from among cards you exiled with the Paleontologist. If you cast it with this, it gives a finality counter. So on top of ramping you, on top of being protecting graveyards, you can exile your own stuff, then recast it, which hopefully makes dinosaurs playable, because I want dinosaurs to be playable at least one time. Come on, please. Let's hope dinosaurs is playable, because this card is a fantastic card for a dinosaur deck. All right, coming number 2 is Spelunking. This card is super sweet. It's an Explorer for 1 more mana, but it makes all your tap lands can play untapped, and then it says whenever you play tap land. Or sorry, it says when lands you control in the battlefield untapped, right? So if you play tap land, it's going to come play untapped, which is super sweet for Domain. Could be super sweet for like Lotus Fields, where Lotus Field come play untapped. It gains life, which is important. And I think Caves actually is a thing. That was the first deck that I played during early access. I was highly impressed with it. You probably find the Cave deck somewhere in the videos if you want to watch it. I played that during early access again, and it was just highly impressive. I liked it a lot. I'm hoping it continues to become like a tier 1 at least, or tier 1.5 deck, but I was very impressed with it. Regardless though, this is sweet as ramp spell, just because it makes all your lands completely untapped as well. So card number 1, we have Huatli, Poet of Unity. This is the best Borderland Ranger we've ever seen, which comes into play. It's just like for a basic land card, reveal and punch your hand. It's also a 2/3, not 2/2. She's like buffed on that. And the flip side, you get to transform her, immediately make two tokens, three tokens, which is a big deal. Because this thing got you land. Now it's making two tokens. Then it ramps you, makes the creatures add 9 colored mana. And then if that was enough, you get a tutor for a big dinosaur, either a Kashath or a Tali. And then and then after that, it gives them all double strike and trample. So this is a super sweet card, very powerful. You don't have to be playing dinosaurs to use this, right? You just play it, you land. If it lives, you transform it, you get a ton of value out of it. If it dies, it's okay. You still do a land. Like early on, you make land drops and keep going. Super powerful card. I think the best card for green personally. So I like it a lot. All right, moving on to multicolored. Number 5 is going to be Wail of the Forgotten. 2 mana, Dimir. It says pick one of these modes, which return non-land permanent to its owner's hand. So like kind of like a disperse. Target opponent discards a card, which isn't that great. Then the third mode is look at the top of the cards of your library, pull them into your hand, and the rest into your graveyard. That mode I feel like was going to be used the most if you're playing multiple copies of this. However, it has another thing that says descend 8. So if you have 8 permanent cards in your graveyard, you can do 1 more of these, which is why I believe this card is good. If you just do 1 and that's it, we'd be pretty unimpressed. But playing 1 of these or a couple of these in your descend deck, I feel like is powerful. It also just helps descend as well, because it puts cards into your graveyard from your library. So seems like a sweet card for a descend deck. Card number 4 is, I have no idea to say this card's name. Bartolome del Presidio. 2/2 Vampire Knight, relevant typing, 2/1. And the reason this card doesn't look impressive, but it's a free sack outlet. So all it says is sacrifice on the creature or an artifact, and you put a counter on this card. And sack decks really love free sack outlets, and one that costs 2 mana is huge. So this is why this gets my top 4, because a free sack outlet is very impressive. It's not limited to once per turn. It's just, hey, whenever you want. Okay, and it also needs artifacts, which makes it even better. So coming number 3 is a card I was super impressed with. It does read like Cutter Quantorius Khan, the Planeswalker. It does look kind of like, cheesy or cookie cutter, like +1, make a 3/2, minus card advantage somehow, then ultimate, right? This is basically like how Planeswalkers are written. But his static is also really good. Like unlike Ashiok static, which did nothing last set really. This Quantorius Khan, whenever you cast a spell from exile, it deals 2 damage to each opponent and you gain 2 life. This is great for Discover. If you're playing Discover deck, it's a 4-point life swing. So his -3 is going to be a 4-point life swing. And then it's also good with adventure cards. It has something from adventure or exile or like flashback, so. Or if you chain Discover cards, like if you hit a Discover card that has Discover 3, then another one you get to bolt for 4, gain 4. Just a very impressive card. All the abilities are great. I liked it a lot. It was a sweet card for the top end of a Boros tokens deck I was playing. So highly impressed with this one. Even though it's 5 mana and Boros, I liked it a lot. So super cool. And I think he's taking over Tamio's lore. He's like the lore keeper now, right? He's like a little book. He's reading it. So, anyways. The Ancient One, coming number 2, 2 mana, 8/8. Has Descent 8, which means it can't attack or block unless you have 8 more permanents in your graveyard. Oh my god, it can't attack or block. This card is bad. Why would you play it? 2-mana 8-8. Well, there's a lot of ways to abuse an 8-8 even if it can't attack or block. Because you can sacrifice it to the Obmixilus to make a copy of him with 8 loyalty. On top of that, it works really well with fight rigging, right? It's 8 power already, so you can just put a counter anywhere and you not for your spell. And it is a 2-mana 8-8 late game or mid late game when you Descend 8. On top of that, also it does have more abilities. It has 4 mana to draw a card and then discard a card. When you discard a card, this way target player mills a card equal to its mana value. So it does kind of grow itself if you want to. Like you can like pay for if you have nothing else to do and like try to make a creature. Maybe because it was a meme or not, but I saw this card all over the place for early access. People doing again fight rigging or flinging it even or Obmixilus it. So yeah, it was pretty good. It was good. Sultai Descend or even was pretty good, but Grixis Descend was also very very impressive as well. Coming number 1, it's not super fun or super flashy. Just Molten Collapse. It's just Dreadbore. So choose one. If you descend this turn, you may choose both instead. It's Dreadbore with upside. You get to kill. One mode is destroy creature or planeswalker. If you descend, you destroy a target non-creature land. Non-creature non-land permanent with mana value 1 or less, which makes it more valuable in older formats, hitting things like Amulet Vigor or hitting like I don't know, whatever you guys play in older formats. But being able to do just being a Dreadbore with upside is gonna be great for all constructive, for Pioneer, even for Standard, for even Modern. Dreadbore already sees play, so it's not rampant anywhere, but it is a very solid card. So that gets my vote for number 1. All right, moving on to artifacts and lands. We're gonna combine them. All right, this is gonna be our last ones. Coming number 5 is gonna be Roaming Throne. This is a giant throne with a bunch of legs, golem looking creature. It has Ward 2, which I love. I love Ward on creatures that cost like 4 more. Honestly, nice little protection. It says Roaming Thrones, as it ends the battlefield, choose a creature type. Roaming Throne is the chosen type in addition to its other types. And then it says if a triggered ability of another creature you control of the chosen type triggers, it triggers an additional time. And this says the key thing here is triggered ability. It's not like a come to play ability. It's not activate ability. It's just if any triggered ability happens. So like if you choose, let's say for example, Phyrexian. If you choose Phyrexian and you play Shieldred, your Shieldred's abilities are going to trigger twice. She's Phyrexian. Let's say then you play Phyrexian Obliterator. Your Obliterator will trigger twice, right? If you name Rafine's creature typing, Rafine will trigger twice. Then you can name Merfolk, or whatever typing you want. It just does a lot. Copying every triggered ability is huge, and just wacky and just pretty fun and cool to see. I'm excited to see people do with this card in general. It's a wacky card, wacky ability. It's gonna take a little thought process to see the best ways to abuse it, but I like it. I love it. It's good for commander as well, and just a fun card. Coming in number 4 is gonna be the good old Jank Glue Treasure Map. This is a reprint, but I just like it a lot. It's a 2 mana. You can scry 1 and put a landmark counter on it. Then there are 3 more counters on it. You can transform it into a land. Make 3 treasure tokens. You can stack treasures to draw a card, obviously, or you use treasures to ramp. This card is sweet. It's just really good, and like whenever you're brewing, is a way to like bridge the gap between mid and late game. Helps you find lands, helps you find spells, then it ramps you and draws cards. Just a solid card. Not crazy, but just very solid. Next up is going to be Sunken Citadel. This is a cave. I think this is the best cave out of all the caves. It comes into play. Choose a color, adds 1 mana of the chosen color. And then you can tap it at 2 mana of a chosen color. Spend this mana only to activate abilities of land sources. I think like You can play this even in decks that aren't necessarily caves, right? You can like, because it makes your ways to animate your lands cheaper. So all creatures lands becomes cheaper. It also makes your things like Blast Zone cheaper, or Field of Ruin. Only they can take 1 land instead of 2 lands to activate. Just a very powerful and very useful card that I think is very playable even without caves, like not without playing cave deck. Definitely, if you do play cave deck, you want 4 of these because the other caves do have abilities. So a sweet card, and it fixes mana. You choose when it comes to play. You choose a color. It's going to fix it. It's going to fix the chosen color. So yes, for me. Thing number 2 is another reprint. Cavern of Souls. If y'all play with this card and when it was in standard, it's not crazy in standard, but it's just very powerful. And especially in older formats, because if you're playing a tribe, if you're playing like humans or merfolk or pirates, or playing elves or whatever, it's going to be a multicolor land for that tribe, but also it's going to make your tribe uncounterable. So it says basically add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast a creature spell of chosen type, and the spell can't be countered. Very powerful, and obviously very, very good for control. It's also just super solid in your tribe deck, allowing you to add any color for that tribe. Coming number 1, this is going to be all. I'm just going to put them all here. All the creature lands, they're all fantastic. All those got the set. We got a blue-white one. We got the mirror one. So we got a green-white one. A lot of allied creature lands are gonna see a lot of play this set, and they're all very powerful. So creature lands matter. So ready your Field of Ruins. Where are your ways to deal with them, because control decks are gonna have a hard time, I feel like, with Cavern of Souls and creature lands coming in. A bunch of good flash creatures. So I'm really impressed with this set. Tell me some of your favorite cards, or cards you think we'll see play. Maybe something I missed. Love to see the cards you want to brew with down below, or just cards you're excited for. So yeah, I appreciate that. And if y'all shop at CoolStuffInc.com, you can use code OLLIE5 to save 5% off your entire order and get sweet All Eldrazi treasure tokens when you order and use that code. This is great for the set because the set makes a lot of treasures as well. Thanks for watching. Y'all can watch me live sometime over at twitch.tv/AllEldrazi, or see some of my decks over my personal YouTube channel over youtube.com/AllEldrazi. Thanks so much again, and catch you next time. Peace.